This illustration deals with continuous duty motors in compliance with 430.32, A as in Apple 2. The purpose of this change was to accept a new sentence. And a new sentence has been added to clarify that electronically protected motors are becoming more and more common in use as standalone motors, not integrated within an end product. The ANSI standard for electronic protected motors is UL 1004-7. Electronically protected motors in compliance with UL, say 1004-7, require that the motor be marked EP or electronically protected. The ANSI UL standard 1004-7 requires that the motor electronically protected complies with standard ANSI standard UL 1004-3, as well as the additional requirements of UL 1004-7 and UL 1004-3, for example, is the ANSI standard for traditionally bimetal thermally protected motors, and thus the requirement for levels of protection are identical. Note that the overload protection is not adjustable as an electronically protected motor. Therefore, electronically protected motors are being added to the same sections that reference thermally protected motors in Part 3 to motors being added in the same sections that reference thermally protected motors in Part 3. Motors are being added to the same sections that reference thermally protected motors in Part 3. For example, electronically protected motors are added to the same sections that reference thermally protected motors in Part 3. Also, sections 430.32A2 and 430.30B as in boy 2, and the terms EP and electronically protected motors are being added to 430.7. Also, the definition of electronically protected motors has been added to 430.2 to those definitions there, and is similar to the definitions for thermally protected and thermally protected from Article 100. Since electronic protector is not commonly a used term, it is not being defined in the definition of thermally protected, combines the concept of thermal protector and thermally protected into one definition. If in future revisions, NFPA 70, the NEC, electronically protected motors are written in other articles, so this definition has been moved to Article 100 because it appears in 2 or more articles in the NEC. Now, our enclosure that we see here is electronic controller, and it lines up with the requirements of 430.22, A is in Apple 2. And the motors that you see, the 3 motors are electronically controlled per 430.32A2. Now, the notes, let's look at those. Note 1 says, and this kind of summarizes this new section, electronically protected motor shall be approved for use on the basis that it will prevent dangerous overheating due to the failure of the electronic control or failure to start and run the motor per 430.32A2. Note 3, the new definition on electronic protected is applied to motors is defined in Article 430.2, and then Article 100 has some information. I would kind of like to review the note 2 because the disconnects to the motors are not shown within 50 foot of the motor is required by insight, with inside of, etc. in Article 100. Now, as a reminder, where GFCI protection of appliances are required, see 422.5A, because there is a little bit kind of a change there that you would need to review. Now, dealing with continuous duty motors that are electronically protected, I think we've pretty well covered why this new section was added in.